Hello, my name is Viviana Serna. I'm doing the book report on The Mother Next Door by Tara Laskowski. This is the front cover of my book, and the front cover is indicating Alice and Teresa. And the hook that I chose for this book is they done mass on this one single night to dress up as someone or something else, but in reality, they live their lives this way. So for the next slide that I have main characters, and the first main character I have is Teresa. In this book, they go through many narrators, but Teresa is the main one that they focus on in this book. In this neighborhood, she's new. She's a new mom moving into cul-de-sac, and she's just really like wanting to fit in, especially with the moms, which is called the IV5. The more that she starts to live in this neighborhood, the more that she realizes that things just seem off. And as she's progressing throughout the book, she just realizes things about the mothers, and she digs into the past of their lives, and then she also forms her own secrets, indicating how she feels about every single one of the moms. And then for the next one, we have Kendra McCall. Kendra is the official and unofficial member of the IV5, you could say. She seems nice at the beginning of the book, but once you start to dig and really read through the lines of what like she says throughout the book, you can find a way that she's like manipulative, controlling, and she just really like thinks like everything's about her, and she wants to like get her way no matter what it is. And she just wants to make sure that everything is perfect, everything is like in line, everyone's in line. And she just maintains like herself. She's a really maintained person. Like, she keeps herself clean, and she just really cares about her appearance as well. Then for the next two characters, I have Alice and Julie. For Alice, she's not really met up in a lot, but she's one of the main characters at the same point, if that makes any sense. So for Alice, she's really quiet and reserved. She doesn't really talk to the other mothers in this book, but that's also for an important reason that I'll find out in a bit. And then she seems caught through loyalty in the whole book, but also at the same time she has like some sort of guilt between herself. And during the book, Teresa does find out what it is, but we'll get on to that later. And then for Julie, I have relaxed and sociable. She follows Kendra's lead, so she's mainly like, oh, whatever like the main person does, like I'll do, stuff like that. And she plays around a lot until she realizes like later in the book how things start to get serious, and like nothing is anything to play about anymore. So next I have is the climax. The climax of The Mother Next Door happens mainly when Teresa gets deep into the mystery of Halloween, and she begins slowly picking up clues that something terrible happened in the past. And now she's starting to finally figure things out about the perfect neighborhood, and it isn't what it seems. And at this point in the book, the other moms are getting a little nervous. Teresa's asking so many questions to the other moms, and the other moms, like I said, like they don't want their past to be revealed, and Teresa's looking into that because obviously she finds something weird about it. And you could feel that something big is about to happen throughout this whole climax situation. The trust between the IV5 is breaking apart. Everyone, it's like a high school friend group. Like everyone's just like going their own separate ways because of one person, and the other person because of another. And then people just start turning on each other. And then there's this one scene right before Halloween night where everything just starts coming to the surface. Like Teresa knows she's close to the truth, so she starts digging into things more. And she starts to realize that if she keeps digging into what's the truth, that she could be in danger, and she doesn't know if she wants to continue to look for the truth. And this is also for me the most intense part of the book. Everything they've been hiding is like at this moment, like everything's about to come out, and you don't know who's gonna come out clean or who's gonna come out hurt with like all true crime books. So next I have is the main plot. So the story starts when Teresa moves into this wealthy, quiet neighborhood, obviously called Ivy Woods, which is the quote-unquote perfect neighborhood. And she's trying to settle in, getting to know people, especially when the moms who run everything, including the big block parties, she feels something off throughout the whole thing. She gets enjoined to the Ivy Five, which is the elite group of neighborhood moms, as I said. And at first it seems exciting, like she's really fitting in, but pretty soon she's gonna realize that something's off. And these women are almost like a little too close, as Teresa realizes, and some things they don't want her asking about. That's why whenever the climax is there, like the moms start to get like uncomfortable whenever they like sense that Teresa's trying to look for something. And Teresa starts to find out that something happened on Halloween night years ago, and that was that someone died. So the story she's told, that the moms tell her, it doesn't add up, and it's clear that the Ivy Five are hiding something. And as she keeps pushing for answers, the tension builds, people start acting weird, the climax happens, and it just becomes clear that anything, or that someone will do anything to keep the past buried, like any other situation that they don't want to talk about. So for the structure, I said that the book is mostly told in different point of views, but mainly through Teresa and Kendra. So through Teresa, we learn things right alongside her that makes it more intense, because we don't know who to trust, just like she doesn't. Like Teresa, she doesn't know who to trust. She doesn't know like if she should trust Alice, Julie, Teresa, or not Teresa, Kendall, but Kendra, or just anyone like that. And then there's also some flashbacks in this book that hint what happened years ago, especially around Halloween, where someone was killed. And these flashbacks help us put the pieces together, but they never tell us the truth right away. So also the suspense builds up slowly, which at first is just a small weird thing like happening, like just like them acting weird, like that's just a small thing that that Teresa starts to notice. And then some people start like getting nervous, a conversation that gets cut short between a party because Alice just didn't want to talk about it anymore in the beginning of the book, or a detail that just doesn't make any sense. Like Teresa, like she doesn't like how people are telling her different stories and it's just not adding up to her. So while I was reading, I started to pick up the clues, and in each chapter it pulled me like deeper into like trying to figure out like what the mystery was. Like it felt like I was Teresa trying to interrogate the moms. But it's structured in a way that makes you think like that you want to keep reading it, and you're constantly like trying to figure out what happened. So that's a good way that this book was structured. And then for mystery and murder, I put for the themes for a slide that I could talk about, because a huge part of all our books is mystery, of course. Like when Teresa, of course, she moves into the neighborhood and she starts picking up things that are weird, of course, and as she builds onto it, and clues come out little by little, nick and knacks. And then the flashbacks and the little clues that come up throughout the story, I slowly start to figure out that something really bad happened before it even told us in the book, and that something was connected to the Halloween party, because in the book it tells you like the chapter, and then it's like 2 weeks before Halloween, so it's like it just really builds your tension up in wanting to read the book. So eventually I find out that someone died back then, and then the big question was basically Teresa was wondering if it was an accident or if it was a murder, but no one, of course, wants to talk about it. The mothers don't want to talk about it, and then that's when things get intense, of course. So as Teresa keeps digging, it's obvious someone is willing to keep the truth buried, which is Alice, because Alice is one of like the people that are mainly in the murder, and also Kendra, because Kendra's the leader. And that this just puts Teresa in danger, and then this is where the suspense and the creepy vibes really take over the story. So the personal connection I have with this is I put trying to fit in, trusting my instinct, and pressure to be perfect. So there was a part in the book where Teresa was really feeling like an outsider, mainly throughout the whole book. Like when she enters the neighborhood, she just feels like she just doesn't feel great in the neighborhood. That's perfect, quote unquote. And like everyone already knows each other, and like it's like a thing. Like if you go to like, I've never had this experience, but I feel like an example, like I'm going to like lunch, and it's like a 7-5 day or something like that, or like it's a day where we have to like have like a schedule where our lunch is based on our fifth hour. When that happens, I have no friends to like eat with. So like it just feels like an out of pocket experience, and then like I'll try to find like some other friends and like try to fit in, but it just does not work. Like, and at that point it's just like really awkward, and I feel like that's how Teresa felt, like her just trying to fit in, and it does not work. So I think that's just something that like I feel like everyone can relate to, whether it's like at school, friend groups, or even just social media, anything like that. And then there's also just the pressure to fit in when something feels off, like when you're in a friend group and like you just know like something or someone is like being weird, like through to everyone. And I've had this happen, and like in this book Teresa started to notice the red flags of the other moms, but instead of Teresa speaking up about it right away, she tries to act like everything is fine, which is something that I relate to because I hate confrontation. Like I hate like telling someone that they're wrong. Um, and that's what Teresa does. And I think we've just all had those moments where like we didn't want to be the only one asking questions so that we didn't look dumb, I guess. But I mean, it's normal to ask questions, but I just feel like if you're the only one that's suspecting something, then it's kind of just really awkward. And then in the end, she chooses between staying quiet or trusting her instinct, and that really stuck with me because it reminded me that it's better to speak up, even if it makes you stand out, because in the end, it's only helping you, and it's only helping you become a better person and understand situations better. So I think that was a good thing that Teresa did in this book. So my academic response is the writing of the style is really suspenseful, slow revealing, uses flashbacks. It doesn't show you everything all at once. It gives you small details like the flashbacks that keep you guessing throughout the whole book. And really, this book is not hard at all to read. It just like you just really have to think while you're reading. You have to pay attention to who's telling the truth and what certain things might mean, and throughout like the perspectives changing throughout the book, you just have to like think on like if this matches up with another person's story. And the author uses a lot of foreshadowing to hint that what's coming up in the future. um, Tara Laskowski, she also uses symbolism, like the Halloween costumes, fake direct decorations, and the idea of masking who you really are. That all really ties into a big theme of hiding the truth. And because of that, the characters don't always say what they mean or tell the whole story. So it adds to the mystery, of course. You're constantly wondering like if you can trust anyone, which makes it even more exciting to read. So for this review and this recommendation, I would give this book about an 8.5 out of 10. I really like the mystery and like the way the story kept me guessing the whole time. It's the kind of book where like you have to like stop the book. You have to stop reading the book just to like think about it. Like for me, like I can't think and read at the same time. The beginning, it's kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie to you. But once like you get towards the middle or a little past the beginning, the tension really picks up, and that's when I really got like interested. And I also like how the characters were really developed, especially Teresa and Kendra. They felt real, like they felt like I could like talk to them in situations, and their decisions made sense even when they were being shady towards each other. And then I also like that it was creepy and suspenseful without being like full on horror, like blood and gore, which is something that I liked. And it's more psychological, which is like the mind stuff and everything, which made it more realistic. I definitely recommend it to anyone who likes mystery, drama, or books that slowly pull into the surprise. Also fans of thrillers. But my final thoughts on this book would be it's very suspenseful and creepy, which kept me guessing with not just the mob drama, but the book going deeper. And that is the end of my book talk, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.